Welcome to Couch Conversations, y'all. I was having an issue with my camera. Oh my God. Every week is something. Y'all don't understand. I come on here, I set up the show, and then when I start the show, it always gives me a problem. But anyways, welcome to Couch Conversations Live, y'all. We have a very, very good subject tonight. We're going to be talking about DV, domestic violence. Yeah, we have a good show. Of course, y'all know I got to tell y'all about the block party, June 13th from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Make sure you are here. Tickets are on sale now on Eventbrite, or you can go to the DMEG website, which I will post toward the end of the show. You can go to either one of those and get your tickets. They are now available on Eventbrite. You can only get free entry tickets and VIP tickets on the website. You can get VIP tables. So if you go to the website, it will tell you how to get VIP tables. Also, we are working on a 2027 DMEG tour, so if you are interested, please go to my page and check out how to audition. I'm excited about that. So far, we have 4 cities, but I just talked to someone last night, so we'll be adding a cruise as well, and the cruise will be open to the public. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. And I also have some other great things coming up, so y'all stay tuned for that. I'm trying to locate tonight's show on my tablet and I don't see it. So let me see if I can find it. As y'all know, I kind of script the shows and I put them together and print them out. My printer been giving me issues. So I've been having to put them on my tablet and read them from my tablet, and for some reason I don't see tonight's episode, even though it was here before. I'm telling y'all, everything be here before the show starts, and then as soon as the show starts, I can't find nothing. The mic don't work, the camera don't want to work. I had to fix the lights tonight. It's just always something. So y'all just bear with me. I don't understand why every week it gotta be something. But yeah, this is what it is. This is insanely crazy too. Oh my. Thank you to everybody as well that also bought tickets for the block party, that bought VIP tables. Thank you to all the vendors. We still have just a few performance spaces open. And when I say a few, I mean a few. Maybe 7 or 8. So I have a few of those open, and I have a few vendor spaces open still as well. Let me see how many vendor. I think I have like 5 or 6 vendor spaces. So if y'all are looking to be a part of the block party, make sure you tap in. Let me know. Let's talk about it, and get you booked. I just can't believe my whole episode disappeared like this. I'm just not happy about that at all. Y'all just give me 1 second. I'm going to resend it to myself. Now my computer freezing. Oh my God. Okay, y'all. Oh, Lord. But thank y'all for bearing with me and just being patient. Just give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna get this together real quick. I was trying to start the show on time, but I should have took a few minutes to get myself together. I literally ran in here and started going live. I had went to go get my family something to eat, and now I'm just having all kind of issues. I set all of this up before I left so that I wouldn't have these issues. Yeah, this is crazy. Y'all just bear with me a couple minutes because I have a really good show put together for y'all. And we about to get it together. If my computer was running so slow, I could have pulled it up already. Shout out to my sponsor. This Couch Conversations is sponsored by Flash Drive LLC. Shout out to the sponsor, J Flash. He will be here in studio next week. So make sure y'all stay tuned. He will be in studio and we will be sitting side by side having a conversation. His is being released, I believe, next week or in 2 weeks. So we're going to have him on. If you watch Couch Conversations regularly, you know he was on earlier at the beginning of the season. So we're going to bring him back. And I told y'all then we were going to bring him back. We're going to bring him back and he will be here live with us in studio. Oh, God. Okay, y'all. Just give me a few minutes. It says I'm oh, Jesus. Help me, Lord. I'm getting messages that I'm freezing on Facebook, so I'm trying to fix everything that's going on right now. And I don't want to stop the live because then I have to start all over in my studio on my streaming space. So I don't want to do that. I'm just trying to locate the episode that I need. And this has just been so difficult because my computer is not cooperating. Like, it's not cooperating. So, I'm almost done, y'all. I'm getting it together right now. But y'all make sure y'all tune in next week for J Flash. The following week, which is April 9th, we will have Devin Powers here. He will be doing media for the block party as well. And in the next couple weeks, we will be having, or I should say over the next couple months, we will be having different people come on to the show that are going to be a part of the block party. And we're going to talk to them, and you're going to be able to get to know them before the block party starts. So I really am excited about that and being able to bring on people that are going to be participating in the block party. I'm going to see if possible if we can get Black Thompson on, our host for the block party. Hopefully we're able to do that. I know he's a little busy, but I did reach out, so hopefully we can get a schedule together to get him onto the show. Okay, so I found the episode. Here we go, y'all. Let's get to it. My computer's freezing up again as soon as I found it. Okay, here we go. just freeze up again? Thank y'all for being patient with me. I've been sitting here for 10 minutes trying to pull up this episode. This is how I know this is going to be a good episode, because I'm telling y'all, I had all of this set up. I had it on my tablet, and now I can't find it. So this is going to be a good episode, and we're going to talk about some stuff that needs to be talked about. So let me grab my keyboard. And I don't know if y'all got a chance to see my video today. I just wanted to say that I was a little upset when I did the video, but I want to say this with a clear head and a clear mind. And I need y'all to take this from me respectfully. I would appreciate if people not call me to tell me that they're not coming to the block party. I've had several people take it upon themselves to call me to tell me that they're not coming to the block party because they don't like somebody that I have on the lineup, or they don't like somebody that I'm honoring. If that is your opinion, I respect that. Just please keep it to yourself. If you're not coming because you don't like somebody that I have on my lineup, please just keep it to yourself and don't show up. I don't need you to call me and tell me about it. I was a little disturbed, and it was no shade toward nobody. It's just that a few people have done it, so I would appreciate if you just keep that to yourself. This is really about DMEG and myself and our 5th anniversary, and we are celebrating that. And I chose to honor people that have supported my business, some of them from day one. So please, if y'all don't rock with people that's on my lineup, just feel free not to show up. It is okay. I won't be offended, but you don't have to tell me that you're not rocking with somebody on my lineup, so you're not coming. Okay? Thank y'all. I just needed to get that out. No shade to anybody that may have called, but that's very discouraging. So I would appreciate it if y'all just keep that type of stuff to yourself. Okay, let's get to the show now. Here we go, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to Couch Conversation. Hi. And I appreciate y'all dealing with me and the shenanigans that I've been going through for the last 15 minutes. Our topic tonight is domestic violence, and I would like to give a trigger warning to anybody watching the show. This is what our subject is tonight, and I just don't want to upset anybody or anything like that. I just want y'all to be able to rock with the topic and be able to take in some of what is being said tonight. Give y'all some signs of abuse, the circle of abuse, and some statistics and things like that. This show is always, like I say, it is for education and informational purposes only, and I give my opinions on the in-between. 99% of what I give off during these couch conversation topics that are requested are things that I actually went, looked up, read, researched, and compiled. So I just want y'all to know that I do read these topics and read about these topics before I get into them. Let's see. So I want to start with what is domestic violence? And before we start, let's just go ahead and put the banner up. We talking about domestic violence tonight, for those of you that are unaware of the topic. And also, we play Cash App games. So for tonight, please share the live, tag someone, and comment with your Cash App tag when you're done. Just to let you know, we do verify before we send the money that you shared the live. So please make sure you share the live, comment with your Cash App tag, and at the end of the show, somebody will be the winner of some money in the morning. Also, tonight, we will be giving away some VIP tickets for the block party for anybody that participated in the Facebook challenge that I put up. So I'll be giving out those block party tickets. But let's get into the subject, and we are talking about domestic violence. So domestic violence is not just physical, it is about control. If you've seen the commercial that I put out leading up to this episode, I said at the beginning, it doesn't start physically, it starts with control. And a lot of people don't understand that domestic violence relationships don't just go right into physical altercations and beatings and things like that. There has to be a level of control and manipulation and fear involved before the physical abuse even starts. If it gets to that, because some people don't even have to be physically abused, but that is one of the biggest signs of domestic violence. So, domestic violence isn't just physical abuse. It is a pattern of behavior used to control power or gain power over someone in a relationship. So that's what we're talking about today. And the main forms of domestic violence are physical abuse, which is hitting, pushing, kicking, choking, restraining, anybody putting their hands on you. Emotional or psychological abuse, which includes manipulation, gaslighting, constant criticism, and isolation. Verbal abuse, which includes yelling, threats, name calling, etc. Financial abuse, which is controlling the money or preventing someone from working or having any type of financial gain. And sexual abuse, which is non-consensual sexual activity even within a relationship. I hope y'all got all of that. Now in this new age, those were all the previous signs. We have digital abuse. So I want y'all to be aware of this as well. Digital abuse is the monitoring of phone, the tracking of your location, the monitoring of social media, etc., etc., etc. So there is a such thing as digital abuse as well. A lot of times it does not start extreme. It begins with control, jealousy, or being protective. And it slowly escalates. And people say it's confusing because there are often emotional ties or things that hold them there, hoping that things are going to change. So, in the United States, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence at least once in their lifetime. And one thing that I will be covering this subject again is because one thing that I didn't get into the way that I really wanted to and to the depth that I wanted to was domestic violence with men. There are a lot of situations that with men that have domestic violence situations that are unspoken of, not talked about, and I really want to get into that. So that is something that we will be going over before this season is over, is more domestic violence with men. Usually when people think about domestic violence, it automatically is male on female violence, but believe it or not, there are just as many men being abused as women. Like I said, the odds were 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Nearly 50% of men and women experience psychological aggression or emotional abuse. So that is letting you really see the numbers with the abuse with the men and the women. 50% of men and women experience emotional abuse. And I'm not going to lie, y'all might not like me after I say this. I believe that number is higher with men. I believe more men experience emotional abuse than women, especially in the black community. And I'm going to get into that. Y'all might not agree with me on this, but I got to say what I got to say. So, yeah, that's just my opinion, and I'm going to get into why. 10 million people per year are abused by an intimate partner. And 1 in 4 women experience severe physical violence. So it isn't rare that this is going on. It's just that it's being a little bit more normalized. I've noticed in the younger people, the younger generation, the Gen X, Gen Alpha, more in their generation, is being a little bit more normalized. You see people saying that it's kind of like almost like it's okay because that's how they show me they love me, or things like that. So I'm gonna check some of these comments now that I'm able to get to them. Thank you, Sharon, for tuning in. Thank you, Aisha, for tuning in. Emotional and mental abuse on men too. Physically abuse, yes. During the pandemic with kids being abused, yes. And we're going to talk about domestic violence with children as well, and the numbers on that. I really did my research on this, not to the extent that I really would have liked to, but I got these numbers down. So around 140 women are unalived every day by a partner or a family member. 140 women every day are unalived by a partner or a family member. 60% of unalived women are unalived by someone they know, usually a partner or family member. So, the quote that I found was, the most dangerous place for many women is at home. And I want y'all to hear me. The most dangerous place for many women, and children as well, is at home. And that doesn't just go for women and children. Sometimes the most dangerous place for a man is at home. I wanted to stop right there before I get into the economic impact that this has. I wanted to talk about the verbal abuse on men. I had said 50% of men and women experience psychological and emotional abuse. And a lot of that is through verbal abuse. And the reason I said I believe it is higher for men in the African American, the black community, is because, and I need y'all to hear me on this, y'all don't realize when y'all talk to men a certain way, it affects them a certain way. Women just feel like men can take it and whatever they say is cool, and they just supposed to take it because they a man. A lot of y'all call y'all husbands, y'all baby daddies, y'all boyfriends when y'all get mad, bitch ass niggas. That seems to be the favorite. That is a form of verbal and emotional abuse. I just need y'all to hear me out on this. For some reason, when women get mad, and I see this just a little bit more in black women than I do anybody else, when we get mad, we say some of the most hurtful, vengeful, spiteful things. And we don't have any type of care in the world about how it affects the person that we're talking to. Y'all might disagree with me on that, and that's fine. I'll take that. But I'm just saying, I've heard how people talk to and not just they spouses, their children. I've heard some of these black women talk to their sons like they not shit, and it's usually because they don't like the daddy. And this has been something that has went on for generation on top of generations. And it's not to say that all black women do this, because I know for a fact that's not true. And I know y'all probably could say I could talk about something other than black women, but if you know me, you know I really care more about black people than anybody else. But this is something that I've seen, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical. But black women, we have to do better when we talking to our sons, and we have to show them some patience and give them some grace when it comes to certain things, because men are not taught to be emotional. They're taught to be protectors. So a lot of times they're not in touch with some emotional things. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. Um, and like I said, I'm giving y'all some facts along with my opinion. So if you don't if you disagree with my opinion, feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear what you have to say. Um, so domestic violence costs $3.6 trillion over victims' lifetimes annually, and this is because they lose health, they lose income, the legal costs, the long-term trauma care, i.e. therapy, and healthcare costs. So these are things that are related to domestic violence that affect us on a larger scale. The cycle of abuse is the most abusive relationship that follow these patterns. Tension building, which is making you feel like you're walking on eggshells, allowing fear to accumulate. An incident in which the verbal, emotional, or physical abuse occurs. The reconciliation, which is the apologies, gifts, and the promise to change. And the honeymoon phase, or the calm, when things feel good again. And then the cycle repeats. And every time it repeats more intensely. Did y'all get all of that? I'm going to read it for you again. The cycle of abuse. There's the tension building where you're walking on eggshells, you're accumulating and growing fearful. The incident where the abuse occurs, which is verbal, emotional, or physical. My tablet shut off. The reconciliation, which is the apologies, the gifts, and the promises to change. The calm, which is the honeymoon phase where things feel good again. And then the cycle repeats, often more intensely than the last time. So I hope y'all got all of that. I hope y'all got all of that. I hope y'all got all of that. Okay. Hey, thank you for tuning in. And you all right. It took me 15 minutes to get the show together today. Some signs that people miss of abuse. Sometimes it doesn't start with a hit. It starts with you feeling like you're walking on eggshells, being isolated from your friends and family, being constantly blamed or made to feel crazy, fear of your partner's reactions to things, and the feeling of loss of independence or control over your own life. So sometimes in a relationship, somebody might ask you who you texting, and they mean it like, just as a question, a flyby question. But when who are you texting turns into monitoring your phone, that is a sign of abuse. When I just care about you turns into isolation, or when the person you're with seems to want to pull you away from your family and friends all the time, and they want you with them all the time, and they start to isolate you. Apologies, and then the repeated behavior cycle. So if you're watching the show, in the comments, I would like to know, what is a red flag that people ignore too often in your opinion? What is a red flag that people ignore too often in your opinion? Please drop it in the comments. Also, if you would like to ask questions, drop comments or a shout out, make sure to put it in the chat. And any obscene or derogatory comments will be blocked. Please be respectful in the comments. So let's talk about the psychology behind the power and control of domestic violence. And after the cycle of abuse starts, it is hard to leave because victims often form a trauma bond with their abuser through the cycle of abuse. They start feeling addicted to the relationship, and they will defend or protect their abuser. They are still holding on to the good version of that person, and they believe that change is coming. This is the psychological conditioning in a DV relationship. Raising of the hand. Yes. You say you were just joking. Yes. Those are major red flags. If somebody is raising their hand at you, you already know where that's about to go. And sometimes people will do things or say things to see how you react, and then they say they're just kidding. So, yeah. I have to keep saying this, y'all. We're playing Cash App games. Share the live, tag someone, and comment with your Cash App tag if you are watching for a chance to win some money at the end of the show. Also, we will be giving away some VIP tickets to the block party to anybody that played the little challenge on Facebook today. So I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But back to the subject. I'm sorry, y'all. I just heard somebody yelling. I don't know what it was, but I think it's my son, Cat. Underreporting. Many cases are never reported, especially with men. Estimates suggest only a fraction of incidents reach the police for fear of shame, fear, financial dependence, or lack of trust in the system. And the lack of trust in the system is a big one, because a lot of people know that when they report a crime, that their abuser is not going away for a long period of time. It's going to be something short, and they'll be back in 48, 72 hours. And if they don't have nowhere to go, it's almost like setting yourself up for another ass whooping. Oh, it won't happen again. I'm sorry. You made me do this. That's a good one. That you made me do this. Yes, yes, yes. They need passwords. Yes. Okay, so the you made me do this is a big one too, because it's also something that narcissists do. I'm going to have to deal with y'all with narcissists and domestic violence, and we're going to make them correlate in one of these episodes, probably my next domestic violence episodes, because I need y'all to know how some of this stuff goes together. I'm not saying narcissists are abusive, but I'm saying that abusers can be narcissists. Now, so why people stay is people don't want to be judged. A lot of people are embarrassed. They find it hard to leave for fear of retaliation or escalation with their partner. The financial dependence that they have to their partner, and this is with a lot of women more so than men. There are children involved, and they don't know how to leave with the children. Emotional attachment and trauma bonding, and lack of support or resources. The lack of support in any situation will make it hard for you to leave. This is something we talked about in our narcissism episode. You have to have a good support system to leave something that is emotionally abusive, whether it's dealing with a narcissist or in a DV relationship. And just to be clear, it can happen to anyone. It does not matter their gender, their background, their financial status. None of that matters. Also, I don't like the misconception that men are weak when they're being abused. And the reason I say that is because some men are really taught and raised not to put their hands on women. So when women put their hands on them, they don't know how to react. My children are like that. They don't know what to do if somebody put their hands on them. A lot of men are surprised that they chose this woman that decided to put her hands on them. And all those things go unreported, a lot of times undetected. And if the man is financially dependent on the woman, it's going to take him a little bit longer to leave. I found that men deal with domestic violence a different way than women, but both situations are bad. Okay, let me stay with these comments. They are afraid to be on their own. They don't know how to be independent. They have been codependent for long. Yes. They are abusers. Yes. So why people don't leave? People always ask, why didn't they just leave? That's a big thing. I noticed with Puffy and Cassie, a lot of people were asking, why didn't she just leave? And I'm going to get comfortable as I talk about this. So let me kick my shoes off and we're going to have a conversation. Now, I have spoken very briefly previously on the show about being in a DV relationship myself when I was younger. And the reason that people don't leave, and I'm telling you this from a personal aspect, because it's hard for people to say, why don't they just pick up and leave? First of all, the abuse probably started when that person tried to leave, because the emotional and the mental and the psychological abuse was already there. Usually when you have those things going on and the person tries to physically leave is when things get physical. And that's usually when the person starts to want to put their hands on somebody. So a lot of times in these relationships, that is why the person don't leave. Because they have attempted to leave and start getting their ass whooped every time they try to leave. I need y'all to understand that. The reason I'm going to use Puffy and Cassie for an example is because there was a lot of things in that case that a lot of people spoke on, and I just want to clear the air with my opinion on it. So a lot of people were saying that, you know, she did it for her career. She was staying around for her career. She was with him 10 years because he had money. Let's talk about it, okay? We're talking about Puffy, who is a multi-millionaire, and I'm not talking about he got $2-3 million. He has $200-300 million. When a person is in that tax bracket, they have the money to do things that a person in a regular tax bracket probably couldn't even think of. We have heard how she went out and tried to date Kid Cudi, and he blew up Kid Cudi's car. When you're dealing with somebody that has those kind of issues, you go back not only to protect yourself, but to protect other people around you. I dealt with a situation where I was dealing with someone and they couldn't get to me, so they tried to get to my best friend. I had not been talking to this person. I had not seen this person. I had no dealings with this person. But when they no longer had access to me, they started stalking my best friend, calling my best friend, and psychologically torturing my best friend. And this went on for a couple days. At first, she didn't want to tell me. But apparently, this person followed her to work one night, and she called me at 4 in the morning screaming on the phone about him threatening her. Now, I ended up talking back to this person for him to leave my best friend alone. So a lot of people don't understand. It is layers. It is layers to all of this. The only way to get away from an abuser is to have a support system and to have somewhere to go where they can't find you, where you can go no contact. They can't find you, and they don't have access to people that know how to find you. Leaving isn't as easy as it sounds these days. Rent is too high. Men don't get the same support women have been entitled to. The narcissist is the one that thinks they have power over their partner. Some victims were preyed on and didn't realize it until it was too late. I like that comment. That is absolutely the truth. But I just wanted to clear up that why didn't they leave thing. It's never easy to leave any type of abuser. They'll always find a way to get you back, unless you can go permanently no contact with them and they not have any contact with anybody you know. So people don't leave because most of the time it's dangerous. They fear being killed or harmed. They're financially dependent, which is a big one right now because rent is so high. They have kids involved, isolation from support. They don't have a support system, and they just hope the person will change. People don't stay because they're weak. They stay because they're trying to survive and stay alive. And as much as it sounds like, well, you would think that they would have a better chance surviving if they leave, not necessarily. And I didn't get the stats on this. I don't recall getting the stats. No, I didn't get the stats on this, but I was trying to find out, and I know it's higher than I assume it is. A lot of women are not unalived until they leave or attempt to leave. The unaliving isn't in the relationship or done in the unaliving is done when they're trying to leave, when they're trying to get away, when they're trying to survive. That's when they're usually unalived. And I know a lot of people don't like the word unalived, but I need Facebook and YouTube not to block my video. Let's see. Comments. Sometimes they have nowhere to go. They burn their bridges. I burnt my bridges by leaving the abuser, and I kept going back to him. My mama said the next time he lays hands on you, call the police, not me. That's a big one, okay? I have a story I'm going to tell y'all. And this is why I don't get involved in domestic violence relationships. I had a cousin that I met. She moved to California from another state, and we instantly clicked. And we were hanging out, and we lived about 15 or 20 minutes apart. So I would go see her, and it was just something about her husband I didn't like. And one night, she called and was telling me, like, he was beating her and all this stuff. So while she was trying to tell me what was going on, he threw her phone off the balcony and locked her in the room. And I could hear all of this going on. So I grabbed my son, we grabbed his friend, and we drive over to her house. It took a long time, a long. We was there for hours. Like, he was lying, telling us she left. It was just a shit show. I don't even want to go into all the details, but it was a shit show. We finally get her, and I take her back to my house, and she stays with me for a day or two, and then she tells me she has a friend she's going to stay with. So I take her to the friend's house. She stayed with the friend a couple of days, and then she went back to the husband. Now, the friend ended up telling me that the husband had been beating her since they got married. Apparently, they got married 2 weeks after they met in Vegas. I asked her why she went back to her husband, and she said because she didn't want to get a job and he took care of her. Now, I have not talked to my cousin since then, and I'm going to tell you why. She called one time after that to tell me who was whooping her ass, and I didn't know what to do. So I told her to call the police. And I told her after that, don't call me anymore when y'all get into it, because you're going to keep going back. And I'm not going to sit by and watch you get unalived. So I know she's alive, thank God. I have tracked and traced her over the years, and I thank God she is still alive. But I stopped talking to her because I did not want to see it happen, and I knew I couldn't save her. And she kept going back. So yeah, sometimes you just have to remove yourself out the situation. The financial dependence is a big one. It's a big one. And a lot of people would rather deal with that than get a job. And she's not the only person that I know like that. I have a friend of mine. Well, she used to be a friend of mine. We no longer talk. We were best friends in high school. A lot of people ask me what happened to her. So I'm about to tell y'all what happened. Hi, Antoine. Apostle. Hi, Apostle Huggins. Thank you for tuning in. So to my cousins, my friends that asked me what happened to the maid of honor from my wedding. So let me explain to y'all what happened. She flew here from back in the Midwest. I'm not going to say where. She flew here from the Midwest where she was living with her long-term boyfriend. They have been together about 11 years. When she came here for my wedding, she was trying to use that as a time to escape from him. And I was all with it. So whatever she was trying to do, I was trying to help her because I did not want her to go back to this man. He was abusing her on a level that was so sneaky that it was crazy. So before the wedding, she had came up with her arm broke. But yeah, she came for the wedding. So I was trying to keep her here, and going through the process of getting her a job, an apartment, all these things, she just didn't want to deal with it. So she went back. And I was looking for her, and I couldn't find her. So she told me, I went back because, I just figured out that I was just okay with him taking care of me. And, I didn't want to try to LA and get a job. So she ended up leaving him again, coming back to LA again, and struggling, but she was together, and I was proud of her, so I was trying to do whatever I could. Things didn't work out like she wanted, so when I went to Vegas, she came to Vegas. Things didn't work out like she wanted there, so she came back to LA. When she came back to LA, she came up missing again. So after about a year or so, her family reached out and asked me to find her. It took a little digging, but we found her. And when I called her, I talked to her and I told her, your family's looking for you. They said they haven't talked to you in over a year. They don't know if you're dead or alive. She told me she was with this man, and apparently he was abusive to a certain extent, but apparently not as abusive as the last one. And she says she don't give a F who's looking for her. Leave her the fuck alone. So I did. That was the last time I talked to her. Listen, I'm not here to save nobody. I am not Captain Save-A-Ho. That is not my job, okay? I hate to see people in domestic violence relationships, but dealing with people in domestic violence relationships sometimes can be like dealing with a crackhead. They like it there, they love it there, and you gotta leave them there until they're ready to be done with it. So people are using domestic violence relationships to survive financially. You gotta have a good support system to leave a domestic relationship. Otherwise, you will not be able to leave because you don't have the means, the finances, anywhere to go. Yeah, let me get to this comment. Especially if the abuser doesn't allow you to work, you never worked a day in your life, and you have no idea how to survive. Exactly. So, I did say Captain Save-A-Ho because I'm going to tell you why. And Apostle, because you watch my show, I've been trying to cut down on my cussing and my shenanigans, okay? And be respectful to the man of God. But the reason I said that is because as much as I want to help people, as much as I don't like to see people hurt, as much as I try to throw my hat in the ring to help people, I can't help nobody that don't want to be helped. Like, a lot of relationships between pimps and hoes are domestic. And I know a few of both, pimps and hoes. I'm not here to save nobody because I'm not finna risk my life trying to help you get out of a situation that you don't know if you want to be rid of or not. And sometimes people don't want to be rid of their shenanigans. Sometimes people not ready to let go of the domestic relationship. And believe it or not, there are people that don't feel loved unless they getting their ass whooped. And I can't be part of that. So, yeah. I gotta keep my distance, and I gotta deal with my own mental health. So, back to what we talking about here. The long-term effects on victims. Domestic violence doesn't end when the relationship ends. There are long-term effects on victims. Physical effects can be chronic pain, heart disease, reproductive issues, and more. Mental issues include PTSD, depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. So, my grandmother came up with another theory. I need y'all to tap in with this. Y'all hear me? It's a nice amount of y'all watching. So I need y'all to tap in and hear me on this. My grandmother came up with a theory that a lot of women who have cancer have suffered domestic violence. Now, in my research, from people that I know personally, I'm almost apt to believe her. I used to be a household and then I turned into a street hoe. True story. Girl, you don't look like you was neither one, but God is good. You can help someone that doesn't want the help. No, you cannot. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It has to have a desire to be saved. Exactly. And I don't have the desire to be saving people. That's not my calling. My calling is to help artists make money, not to save people from their situations. But I really want to hear y'all tap in and let me know what y'all think about my grandmother's theory. And if you missed it, what I just said was a lot of women who have suffered from cancer have also suffered from domestic violence. And in my personal research, I have found this to be true. I have asked people that I know have had friends and relatives with cancer, were they in domestic violence relationships, and we found the answer was yes. So I need y'all to tap in with me on that. Do you know anybody that has had cancer or passed from cancer that was also in a domestic violence relationship? I want to see how those things correlate, and I'm going to really do my deep dive on that as well. So, the cycle continues. Let's talk about the future of domestic violence. So children who grow up in violent homes are more likely to repeat the cycle. Boys who witness domestic violence are more likely to become abusers in life. Girls who grow up in abusive homes are more likely to become victims. Children who are exposed to domestic violence are 2 to 3 times more likely to enter into abusive relationships as adults. They are at a higher risk for both victimization and perpetration. Not every child repeats the cycle, but the risk increases significantly without intervention before they become an adult. It has been proven. Really? Okay. Sometimes we don't know any better. We are so used to abuse, we don't feel loved unless we are abused. Jesus met me in a crack alley on my way to commit suicide. Wow. Wow. That just touched me, like for real. I've heard people say that he'll meet you anywhere, and I've also heard a couple of people who were victims of domestic violence say that on their way to unalive themselves or in the process there was some type of divine intervention. Hi Sparkle, thank you for tuning in. Jesus met me in a crack alley on my way to unalive myself. Whew, Lord. I see why you are so grateful to God and why you pray for people and why you are just going hard for the Lord. I see why now, Sharon. I see why. And you know what? God bless you, because you're doing a amazing work for him. Our first conversation, you were talking about the Lord. So, yeah. I grew up in a house. I grew up in a what happens in this house stays in this house. My mother was abused by my father. So that's an issue too. We raise children on what happens in this house stays in this house. And what if the house is toxic? What if the house is abusive? What if the house is not where the child needs to be? What if the abuser is a PDF file? Like, it's so many questions to ask about what goes on in this house stays in this house. I've never been really that type of person that, like, necessarily what goes on in my house stays in my house, because if you know me, you know I don't give a damn about what I do. I'm very, like, I do what I do and I don't care. Like, and I'm not saying I do anything bad, or, you know, I'm not nowhere like sticking needles in my arms or nothing like that, but I've always had this attitude like I'm me all the time. I'm not doing anything that I'm ashamed of. So, you know, I am who I am. So I've never really had this, like, what goes on in this house stays in this house attitude. Now, my kids' daddies, on the other hand, the children were trained. You talk to mama and you talk to daddy and you don't talk to nobody else. And I'm not mad at him for that. That has avoided a lot of drama. Yes. But there was nothing weird going on in the home. Like, you know, I do believe if there was, my children would have told me. Because if you've watched this show before, you know I talk about my children all the time. And I tell y'all my children is some snitches. So what I mean by that is anything pertaining to them or me or their father, they're going to tell. So, yeah. Whew. Children exposed to domestic violence are significantly more used to violence themselves. They are 2 to 3 more times likely to become abusive in relationships later. We want to focus on kids while they are young with intervention and not becoming abusers or being a victim of abuse. 1 in 3 teens, and I want y'all to hear this because children from domestic homes are prone to become domestic as teenagers, not as adults. So I need y'all to hear this. 1 in 3 teens, if you have a teenager, hear me, especially if it's a girl. 1 in 3 teens in the United States experience some form of abuse while dating, whether it is emotional, physical, or digital. Most of the time in teens, it's emotional, physical, and digital. Okay? Digital is usually the first one, though. Roughly 1 in 10 high school students, 1 in 10, 1 in 10, 1 in 10. 1 in 10 high school students report being physically hurt by a partner while dating. This is high school, people. High school. High school teenagers are out here abusing and being abused. And I'm going to tell you something. If you have a teenager, sit down and talk to your teenager. If you have a young lady, sit down and talk to your young lady, because the misconception these days with the new generation, and I'm not saying with everybody, because we on 2 spectrums with the new generation. They either all the way to the left or all the way to the right. I've heard a lot of children, especially on social media with the new generation, saying like they deal with abuse because they boyfriend buying them bags, or they getting their makeup done, they getting their hair done, they getting their nails done, so they dealing with the abuse. They're going on dates and they boyfriend spending money on them and they're dealing with the abuse. So please, 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 please be aware. Also, another one was, he beat me because he loved me. That's what happens when somebody love you. Like, I need y'all to tap in with these teenagers and see what they doing. Thank God I don't have teenagers anymore. Whew, Lord, it was a struggle when I did. Kids who grow up in violent homes are more likely to normalize controlling behavior, even among their peers. They are more likely to use aggression in relationships as teens, and they are more likely to struggle with emotional regulation and conflict resolution. They need to feel safe enough to talk about it. They are afraid and they will get in trouble if they say something. Well, this is where you have to open up communication with your children and have them on a level where they're comfortable to talk to you about anything. One of my sons, I'm not going to say which one of my sons had an incident with a girl. She wanted to push and shove and tug on him, and he called me. And I nicely went and knocked on her family's door and told them she's a grown adult. And the next time she put her hands on my son, I'm going to knock her MF head off. So I just wanted to let them know we don't tolerate domestic abuse around here. My son won't hit her, but I will. Okay? They deal with it because, one, there was a lack of father, two, attention, and because their mother endured it and now they feel this is a must, how it's supposed to be. I agree. Let's see where we at. A significant portion of teen abusers have been exposed to violence at home. 30 to 40% of youth offenders report witnessing domestic violence. So that's 30% to 40% of children that are getting in trouble, youth offenders, they're reporting witnessing domestic violence at home. And sometimes it's copying behavior. Sometimes it's because they have learned that control is love. They may lack healthy relationship models. And trauma affects brain development and impulse control. So violence becomes a way to handle conflict. Not every child is exposed to domestic violence becomes an abuser. So if you have one that has been exposed, you need to break the cycle. If you yourself are a survivor of domestic violence, become an advocate. Become an advocate and help somebody else break the cycle. Become a support system to somebody else. So some public cases that we know about domestic violence, and I'm not going to go into the details of the cases for the simple fact that I can go into each one of these cases and use an hour about my opinions. But Rihanna and Chris Brown, I believe Chris Brown, I'm going to shut up. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, Ray Rice, who went viral for assaulting his wife or fiance, I forgot what she was, in the elevator. And of course, one of the most famous of them all, Ike and Tina. And if you've ever seen the movie, I'm not saying the movie is spot on because there's a lot of discrepancies in the movie. But if you have watched the movie, you see the cycle of abuse in the movie with Ike beating Tina. First of all, he would scare Tina, he would beat Tina, then he would buy her a gift, buy her a house, buy her a car, buy her something, give her some money, give her something, and then he would do it all over again. When she left, it was because she had a good support system, because she was financially dependent on Ike. Had it not been for Jackie, she probably would have stayed. But she knew that that was her friend and that her friend would have her back. One that is talked about but is not talked about, and it actually came back up last year, was Halle Berry. A lot of people knew she was in an abusive relationship, that she lost her hearing in that abusive part of her hearing in that abusive relationship, and there was some controversy about, was it David Justice, was it Christopher Williams? My research shows it was Wesley Snipes. She spoke about being in a domestic violence relationship And she advocated for domestic violence awareness. It's just that when she spoke about it, she happened to be with David Justice, so people assumed that he did it. He was not the abuser though. Also, Adrian Peterson, he was charged with child abuse for whooping his son with a switch. So it sparked a debate about discipline versus abuse. Now, with that, to each his own. Um, Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm almost done. I know I went a little over time because I couldn't get on, but we're almost done. So let's talk about breaking the cycle, getting out and healing. And what I really just wanted to let you know is if you're in a domestic violence relationship, um, get you a support system. Things or ways to heal and get out is to create a safety plan. Reach out to trusted people, get some therapy, find a support group, and rebuild your confidence and identity after. Um, what helped me leave my domestic violence relationship was my family. First of all, let me tell you about my family. The men in my family don't play about the women in my family at all, okay? I'm 20 years older than my brother, and my brother will come whoop your ass right now about his sister. I'm just saying, the men in my family don't play about the women in my family at all, period. Cousin, brother, nephew, uncle, they don't play. Um, I left my abuser and went and stayed with my cousin. And my abuser thought that he was going to come to my cousin's house and do the fool, and my cousin basically laid down the law. And I have not seen that man since that day. Has he reached out? Yes. That was 20 something, almost 30 years ago. He has definitely reached out. Actually, he reached out to me on Facebook 2 or 3 years ago. He reached out to me on Facebook. He tried to apologize. He tried to tell me he was doing drugs back then and he was out of his mind and he don't remember what happened really, and the gaslighting. And the second conversation, I could see that he was the same old person. So yeah, I accepted his apology, but I also blocked him because I don't think it was sincere, but I did accept it just for my own forgiveness purposes. But yeah, you gotta have a support system to leave any type of domestic relationship. I wish people would stop asking why didn't they leave, or why did they stay. That is not the question to ask. The question to ask is, how can I support them leaving, or how can I support their escape? How can I support them getting away? That is the question to ask. So if this is hitting you or somebody you know while you're watching this, you know somebody that's in a domestic violence relationship. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to do this at this show. Please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The National Domestic Violence Hotline. 1-800-799-7223, or you can hit them up online at thehotline.org. If you know somebody that's being abused and you catch them in a situation getting their ass whooped, please call 911. Please start reporting your abusers. And the reason I say that is because a lot of women don't report abuse. A lot of men don't report abuse. So what happens is you break up with this person and they go on to abuse somebody else. Just like we want to stop pedophiles from moving on to the next victim, or anybody else, serial unalivers, as just like we want to stop them from moving on to the next victim, we need to report these people that are doing these things with domestic violence so that we can get them locked up too. It's not okay to put your hands on people. Assault and battery is a charge for a reason. If you've been in a domestic violence relationship and you have not, please get you some therapy, okay? That is the end of my show for tonight. I thank y'all for tuning in. Let me give myself a round of applause. Uh-oh, what did I just do? I'm about to give myself a round of applause. That is the end of our show for tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in. So, I need to know if a couple people watch it. I was just counseling someone this week and I asked them what resources do they need to move forward. Thank you, Apostle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we playing Cash App games tonight. I'm gonna check the comments and see who actually dropped their Cash App, who shared the live. Let me go back to the beginning. Y'all didn't want no money tonight? Okay. Looks like I only see one. I only see one. I only see one. Only one person shared the show tonight. Okay, so our winner, once again, she won a couple weeks ago, Miss Sharon McKinney. Thank you for sharing the show. And we appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank y'all for suggesting these topics for me as well. If you have a topic that you would like me to talk about, please text me or send it to me, okay? Message me or something. So I didn't even get a chance for couch confessions tonight because I really knew that this subject was going to take up the whole hour. We'll be back next week with couch confessions. If you have a couch confession to share, please email me at couchconversationslive@gmail.com. All submissions will remain anonymous. So you can send me your story that you would like to tell, that you would like me to read on air, and I will read it. Yeah, and they will stay anonymous. I read 2 last week. I kept them anonymous. I think I still have one from last week as well. I'm gonna have to look because I think I had 3 last week. But yeah, send me your couch confessions. Also, be sure to go subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/@therealdanniGyrl. Make sure you go check out the website, divinemanagement.weebly.com. Also, as far as YouTube goes, a lot of people were asking about block party footage from any of the past block parties. If you go on YouTube, it's there. I do believe I shared it on Facebook, but it is there. You can also go to the website for your block party tickets and reservations. So yeah, see y'all at the block party, okay? And make sure you go subscribe on YouTube. All the information, all the footage from the block party will be going on YouTube. It will not be on Facebook. It will be going on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe so you can see everything we got coming up. We're going to be posting some things. I posted some things yesterday, but it's probably some stuff y'all seen already. Question, comments, or like to be on the show, please text me at 702-578-6716. You can also email couchconversationslive@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on IG at Couch Conversations Live. Join us next Thursday, April 2nd at 8 p.m. We're going to chat with Jay Flash, who is our sponsor and the owner of Flash Drive LLC. And he will be here next week to personally give y'all some money. He usually sends it to y'all after I send him who won on the show. But next week he'll be here to personally give y'all some money. We're going to be talking about his album release as well as the block party. April 9th, we will be back with Devin Powers. We tried to get him on the show week before last, and we were having some technical difficulties. So we'll have him back. Y'all stay tuned. We got a couple other people we'll be bringing to the show over the next few weeks, over the next couple months, to talk about what they have going on and the block party. Special thanks to my sponsor, Flash Drive LLC, and owner Jay Flash. I appreciate him so much. He is the one, because a lot of people were asking me about the couch conversations money when you play Cash App games. Cash App games does not come from me. It comes directly from the sponsor, okay? So when you win Cash App games, all I do is I give him the name, and then he sends you the money. So it does not come from me, just so y'all know. And before I give my closing words, let me see. Make sure I got everything. Yeah, I think I did get everything tonight. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see on the ticker, you can always show your support to the show by Apple Pay, Cash App, or Venmo. All donations are appreciated, and they all go to the show, the podcast room. For the people coming to the block party, if you do a Couch Conversations live interview, it'll be in the podcast room. So you'll get to see that as well. Oh, the tickets for the VIP tickets. Let me get the VIP tickets, and they go to, let me go see. Hold on a second. Y'all gonna have to start playing games with me on Facebook, okay? Because I posted it today, and I said if you participated in my shenanigans, I was giving away tickets for the block party. So let me find out who won, because I seen it earlier. I believe it was Annette Suber, Carlisha Wilder. Let me see. Hold on one second. Annette Suber, Carlisha Wilder, and Chanel Irving. Those are the people that participated today. I appreciate y'all. Oh, wait. Hold on. I missed somebody. Because I think I had 4 people. Hold on. Angie D's. Those are the people that will be getting block party tickets. 2 VIP tickets to the block party. And I'm telling y'all, the block party going to be lit. So y'all going to want to be there. But Angie D's, Carlisha Wilder, Chanel Irvin, and Annette Suber. Thank y'all for playing the game with me. Make sure you tap in and get your 2 VIP tickets for the block party. And closing words. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate y'all as I do every night. Thank y'all for the subjects and the topics that y'all suggest. I try to do my best to bring y'all as much information and do my due diligence on the topics that y'all give me. So if there's anything that you would like to talk about, make sure you tap in. Tonight's talk wasn't an easy talk for me because I had to show some restraint, but it was necessary. And to anyone who's watching, anyone who's hurting in silence, you are not weak, you are not crazy, you are not alone. And on the couch, your story matters. I want to wish everybody a good night. Thank you again to my sponsors. I will see y'all next week. Right back here at 8 o'clock. Be sure to bring your drinks, bring your snacks, and bring a friend. All right? Peace, and have a divine night. Thank y'all for tuning in.